Your middle-class life was never meant to be yours. Every raise you earn goes to rent you don't own. Every promotion feeds debt you can't escape. The mortgage is a leash. The credit card is a trapdoor. The retirement account is a promise written in disappearing ink. You're not building wealth. You're paying admission to a treadmill that speeds up every year. This isn't an accident. This is the most refined extraction mechanism in human history, and you're funding it with 40 years of your life. You don't notice it because it feels so normal. Waking up to work for money that evaporates by month's end. Borrowing to afford what your parents bought with cash. Celebrating a raise while inflation already erased it. Calling yourself middle class while living one missed paycheck from catastrophe. The trap doesn't announce itself. It smiles. It congratulates you. It tells you you're doing fine. And while you're nodding along, it's hollowing you out from the inside. Here's what they don't tell you. The average American with a 4-year degree now earns wages with the same purchasing power as in the late 1990s. That's 25 years of economic growth that didn't reach your paycheck. Productivity climbed, corporate profits exploded, but your salary stayed frozen. Meanwhile, housing costs have doubled, education debt has tripled, healthcare is a financial landmine, and every essential expense rises faster than your income. This isn't a rough patch, this is the business model. The system works by replacing wealth with access to debt. You're not buying a home, you're servicing a mortgage for 30 years. You're not getting an education. You're signing up for student loan payments that follow you into middle age. You're not living comfortably. You're financing the appearance of stability. And the whole time, you're being told this is how it's supposed to be. Work hard, borrow smart, build your credit score. One day you'll be free. That day never comes, because freedom was never part of the equation. Let me show you where this pattern comes from. Long before credit cards and mortgages, there was a simpler version. After the Civil War, sharecropping spread across the South. Freed people and poor whites would work someone else's land. The landowner provided seeds, tools, and supplies. At harvest, the sharecropper owed a share of the crop, but the landowner also ran the store. Charged for every purchase, kept the books, did the math. And somehow, every season, the sharecropper ended the year deeper in debt. They couldn't leave. Leaving meant abandoning the debt. The law sided with the landowner. So they worked another season, then another. It was called debt peonage. Congress outlawed it in 1867. But the practice continued for decades. The mechanism was elegant. Give someone just enough to survive, charge them slightly more than they can earn, lock them into the system through debt, control the accounting, make escape illegal or impossible. Now look at the company store. Coal mining towns in Appalachia ran on a similar logic. Miners were paid in scrip, company currency. Only good at the company store. The store sold food, tools, clothes, always on credit, always at inflated prices. The miner couldn't take his scrip elsewhere. He couldn't save real money. He worked to pay off what he already owed. The company owned his labor because it owned his debt. This wasn't a flaw, it was the engine. Keep the worker in motion without letting him accumulate anything. Pay him in excess, not ownership. Tie his survival to continued participation. The miner didn't own his house, he rented from the company. His children went to the company school. He was embedded in an economy with one exit. Stay and work, or lose everything and leave with nothing. Here's the third echo. Truck systems in industrial England. Workers were paid partly in goods instead of cash. The employer determined what goods and at what value. Workers had to accept them. They couldn't demand full payment in money. This kept them dependent. It meant the employer could offload unsellable inventory as wages, and it prevented workers from saving or investing. The system survived because workers had no leverage. No savings meant no ability to strike or walk away. The employer controlled not just the job, but the worker's entire consumption cycle. The law eventually banned it, but only after generations were trapped inside it. See the pattern? In each case, the system gives you access instead of ownership. It charges you more than you earn. It controls the terms of repayment, and it makes living impossibly expensive. The modern middle-class trap uses the same principles, but it's been dressed up in aspiration. Debt peonage didn't call itself peonage, it called itself opportunity. The company store didn't advertise dependence. It advertised convenience. And today's extraction system doesn't announce that it's bleeding you dry. It calls itself the American dream. This brings us to stage 1. You enter adulthood already behind. College is no longer a public good. It's a private purchase. And it costs more than any 18-year-old can pay in cash. So you borrow tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands. You sign documents you barely understand. You're told it's an investment in yourself. What they don't say is that the loan is non-dischargeable. You can't bankrupt your way out. You'll be paying it back for decades. Before you've earned a single real paycheck, you're a debtor. And the clock is ticking. Interest compounds while you're still in school. You graduate not with freedom, but with a bill. Stage 2 arrives the moment you get that first real job. You're earning now. You feel like you've made it, but look closer. Your salary sounds decent until you calculate purchasing power. After taxes, after student loan payments, after rent, after transportation, after healthcare premiums, what's left? Maybe enough to eat and pay for internet. You're working full time and living paycheck to paycheck, but everyone around you is doing the same thing. So it feels normal. The system trained you to expect this. You're told to budget better, spend less on coffee, skip avocado toast, as if $5 a day would close the gap between your wages and your expenses. The problem isn't your spending. The problem is that wages stopped matching the cost of living 50 years ago, but the system can't admit that, so it blames you. Then comes stage 3. You start using credit. Not because you're reckless, because you have to. Car breaks down. Medical bill arrives. Rent goes up. You don't have savings yet. How could you? You've been spending everything just to stay afloat. So you pull out the card. You charge it. You'll pay it off next month. Except next month something else happens. Another expense. Another swipe. And now you're not paying it off. You're making minimum payments, which mostly covers interest. The balance barely moves. But the car company is happy. They're making profit on money that doesn't exist. And you're locked in, because if you stop paying, your credit score crashes. And your credit score controls everything. Whether you can rent an apartment, finance a car, get approved for a mortgage, even get some jobs. Your score isn't a measure of responsibility. It's a measure of compliance. It tracks how well you service debt. The better you pay them, the higher your score. The higher your score, the more they let you borrow. And the more you borrow, the more trapped you become. Stage 4 is where the trap tightens. You're told that renting is throwing money away. You need to buy, build equity, own something. So you take on a mortgage, 30 years of payments. Let's be clear about what a mortgage is. It's a legal obligation to pay a bank hundreds of thousands of dollars over 3 decades. In the first 15 years, almost all of your payment goes to interest. You're not building equity. You're renting money from a bank and paying them twice what the house is worth. Meanwhile, you're responsible for every repair, every property tax increase, every insurance hike. The house isn't an asset. It's a liability that might appreciate, if the market cooperates, if your neighborhood stays desirable, if another financial crisis doesn't crater your property value. But even if it does appreciate, you can't eat equity. You can't retire on it unless you sell. And if you sell, where will you live? So you stay. You keep paying. Because walking away means destroying your credit and losing every payment you already made. The mortgage isn't homeownership. It's a 30-year installment plan on a leash. Stage 5 is the lifestyle creep. You get a raise. Finally, 10% more, except inflation already took 7. Taxes take another 2. You're left with a 1% real increase, but your rent went up, your car insurance went up, childcare went up. That raise didn't even cover what you already lost. So you adjust, you borrow a little more, you push the credit limit higher. You take out a home equity line of credit. You're told this is smart, you're leveraging your assets, but you're not. You're betting that future income will cover present debt, and that bet only works if nothing goes wrong. No layoffs, no medical emergencies, no recessions. One disruption and the whole structure collapses. But you can't stop now, because everyone around you is doing the same thing. The neighbor's new SUV, the co-worker's kitchen remodel, the friend's vacation photos. all of it is financed. All of it is debt performing as success, and you're competing in a game where the entry fee is your future. Stage 6 is where you realize the trap. You're in your 40s, you've been working for 20 years, you've done everything right. College, career, house, family, retirement account, and you're still stressed about money. Still one bad month away from disaster. Still unable to stop working even though you're exhausted. You look at your retirement account and do the math. It won't be enough. Not even close. Social Security might not exist by the time you need it. Your house has equity, but selling it means downsizing or moving somewhere cheaper and less desirable. Your kids need college. Your parents need care. The sandwich generation. Paying for everyone while building nothing. And here's the cruelest part. You're the lucky one. You have a degree, a career, a house. Millions don't even get this far. They're locked in at stage 2 or 3, never escaping the rent trap, never qualifying for a mortgage, living in the same precarious cycle, but without even the illusion of progress. Let's talk about the math. The system works because the incentive structure punishes escape. When you pay off a credit card, the bank stops making money from you, so they don't want you to pay it off. They want you making minimum payments forever. When you pay off a mortgage early, the bank loses decades of interest, so they don't incentivize early payoff. When you save instead of spend, the economy calls it a crisis. Consumer spending drives growth, your spending, not theirs. You're supposed to keep buying, keep borrowing, keep cycling money through the system, and in return you get what? The privilege of doing it again next month. Here's how the extraction works. Let's say you make $60,000 a year. 40% goes to taxes and payroll deductions. That leaves $36,000. Rent or mortgage takes another 15. Transportation 5. Food 6. Insurance 4. Utilities 3. That's $33,000. You've got $3,000 left for the entire year. For clothes, for saving, for emergencies, for anything, and this is if you're doing well. No major medical bills, no car repairs, no debt beyond the mortgage. One bad month and you're using a credit card, which puts you deeper in the cycle. The margins are so thin that you can't build a buffer. And without a buffer, you can't take risks, can't quit a bad job, can't negotiate better terms, can't move to a cheaper city because moving costs money. You're stuck. And stuck is exactly where the system wants you. This is not a conspiracy. This is a business model. Banks make more profit from interest than from lending. Credit card companies make more profit from minimum payments than from responsible customers who pay in full. Mortgage companies make more from 30-year loans than from 15-year loans. The longer you stay in debt, the more they earn. And the system is designed to keep you in debt. Tax deductions for mortgage interest. Incentive programs for credit card spending. Easy refinancing that resets your payoff clock. Even the language is designed to soothe you. You're building credit. You're leveraging assets. You're managing cash flow. What you're actually doing is paying rent to live inside a financial trap. Here's where it connects to those historical systems. Sharecroppers couldn't leave because the landowner controlled the books. You can't leave because the credit score system controls your access. Company store workers were paid in scrip they couldn't spend elsewhere. You're paid in dollars that only go toward fixed expenses you can't avoid. Truck system workers accepted goods instead of cash. You accept access instead of ownership. Rent instead of equity. Subscription instead of purchase. Lease instead of property. The system has evolved, but the extraction mechanism is identical. You work, they take, you never catch up. Now let's get specific about where you are right now. If you're making minimum payments on any debt, you're in stage 3 or beyond. If you're using credit to cover gaps between paychecks, you're in stage 3. If your emergency fund is less than 3 months of expenses, you're vulnerable. If you own a home but have less than 20% equity, you're not a homeowner. You're a mortgage servicer. If your retirement account balance is less than 3 times your annual salary by age 40, you're behind. Not because you're failing, because the system is designed to keep you behind. Look at your credit card statement. See that minimum payment. Calculate how long it would take to pay off the balance, making only that payment. 20 years, 30 years, never. That's not an accident. That's the design. Here's the test. Could you stop working for 6 months and survive? No, you're not middle class. You're working class with a nicer title. Could you retire at 65 and maintain your current lifestyle? No? Your retirement plan is hope. Could you handle a $20,000 emergency without borrowing? No? You're one crisis away from financial collapse. These aren't personal failures. These are features of the system. The system doesn't want you to have 6 months of savings. It wants you spending every dollar. The system doesn't want you retiring comfortably. It wants you working until you can't. The system doesn't want you handling emergencies with cash. It wants you borrowing at 18% interest. Here's how you start breaking free. First rule, stop playing status games. Your neighbor's car is financed. Your coworker's vacation is on a credit card. Your friend's renovation is a home equity loan. All of it is performance. None of it is wealth. Real wealth is invisible. It's the absence of debt. It's the ability to say no. It's options. Stop trying to look successful. Start trying to be free. Second rule, track the extraction. Every month, write down how much you paid in interest. Credit cards, car loan, mortgage, student loans, add it up. That number is what you paid for the privilege of being in debt. Now multiply it by 12. That's your annual tribute to the system. Multiply by 10. That's a decade of wealth you'll never accumulate. Seeing the number makes it real. Ignoring the number keeps you compliant. Third rule, reverse the flow. The system wants you earning and spending in the same cycle. Paycheck arrives, paycheck disappears, you need to break that loop. Every dollar you don't spend is a dollar they don't extract. Build a buffer, even a small one. $500, $1,000. Enough that the next surprise expense doesn't force you onto a credit card. Once you have a buffer, expand it. The goal isn't to get rich. The goal is to stop being extracted from. Wealth is what you keep, not what you earn. The system will fight you on this. It will send you offers. Low interest, cashback, rewards points, 0% for 12 months. All of it is bait. The game is designed so that you lose even when you think you're winning. Cashback gives you 2% while charging you 18% on the balance. Rewards, points expire or devalue. 0% becomes 25% the moment you miss a payment. The house always wins. The only winning move is not to play.